Welcome back, friends. Mark Peotter here. This will be my second attempt to make a video to teach you how to play Heartache Tonight from the Eagles recording. My first video got struck by the owner of the copyright and removed from YouTube because the owner of the copyright decides that they don't want to have monetization attached for their audio that was being played during my video. So anyways, we're going to do this lesson without the aid of listening to any other tracks other than just you and I. To play Heartache Tonight on slide guitar, we are going to tune our guitar to an open E chord. You've got a low E. The A string is going to move up to a B. The D string moves up to an E. The G string moves up to a G sharp, but notice how I have it a little out of tune flat. Yeah, that's on purpose because it will sound better as a chord when you play it with distortion. The B string remains the same as a B, and the high E string remains the same as an E, and now you've got your open E tuning. This particular distortion is a high gain to simulate a Marshall lead guitar full rich tone. It works well with the humbucker pickups on this Gibson SG guitar, and I'll be using both pickups. All the tone knobs and the volume knobs are all up to 10. The distortion on my amp, by the way, is a 3, and the volume is set to be the same as my voice. Try to keep your slide right above the frets and exactly perpendicular to the strings. You'll see that I kind of fudge a little or turn a little bit, but you want to try to be as perpendicular as possible to the strings. Another important tip is keeping the unwanted strings quiet. Joe Walsh is great at this. All slide guitar players are good at this. It's good if you kind of dangle your right hand fingers down into the strings. For example, if I'm playing on my D string, which is tuned up to an E right now, I'm going to put fingers 2, 3, 4, those fingers there. I'm going to touch those other strings with those fingers. See, so I'm touching my top 3 strings while I pluck string number 4. And this type of technique is going to help you a lot in your cleanliness of your electric slide guitar. Another overall tip for playing slide guitar is to think of every fret as a different chord, because it is. So for example, on the 8th fret, you have a C chord, and then the licks that you play over, in this case, a C chord, think of it like a runner leaving first base. He kind of goes away from first base and he goes back to first base. He's back and forth. That's your slide going to and from the chord. Okay, so on the top 2 strings, that's your 8th fret, but you can go away from it 3 frets and go right back to it. And that's the beginning of understanding how these guitar licks work. On the second 2 strings, you can do the same kind of thing and go right back to it. You can also deviate by going lower and then coming up to it. That's a common lick you'll use. Okay? And sometimes you begin by being away from the destination and then approaching your destination. Like this. You want to play a C chord, but you might start on fret 6 and go up to it. Okay, so those are the basics of how to play slide guitar, but I'm not going to take that much detail in this lesson or it'll be too long. Let's get started on the song now. The first lick of the slide guitar occurs after the a cappella vocals say, "Make it come out right" for the first time, and it's going to be the middle 2 strings on the 10th fret, and you're going to deviate by going below it. So let me show you 10, to 8, and then you go to the next pair of strings lower, fret 10. Okay, so let's put that together, and it sounds like this. The next lick is going to be on the same middle 2 strings. We're going to pluck that 3rd string one time and play these notes. 10, 9, 10, 8, and then we go to the 4th string and pluck 10. And then we're going to slide down to 8. When you slide down to 8, that's the C chord that the band is playing. Okay, so let's rehearse the lick right now. The next lick of the song occurs right after they sing the first line of the first chorus, There's Gonna Be a Heartache Tonight. And we're gonna go 12 and 15 on our top 2 strings. So I'm letting only the top 2 strings ring at the end there. The next lick starts the same way, but it ends differently. We're going to play the 12, 15, and then we play 15, 15 on strings 3 and 2, and then we slide on strings 4 and 3 from 15 down to 8. That's because we're going from the G chord to the C chord, like this. Okay, so when you get to that fret 8, you're on the C chord. Okay, let's try to put those 2 licks together, and it sounds like this. At the end there, I'm making the top 2 strings quiet, so you only hear the middle 2 strings. The next 2 licks involve the use of the A chord on the 5th fret. So you're going to approach it from below like this. On the 3rd string, okay, and then on the D chord, we're also going to approach it from below like this. And then we slide the middle 2 strings all the way down to 3, which is your G chord. Okay? So let's put that part together. On the D chord, we slide 9, 10, and then we slide it down to 3, and he abruptly stops on the 3 as the singer starts to sing the next verse. All right, so let's try to put those 2 licks together. The next lick occurs kind of in the middle of the first verse. It's one of my favorite licks, and I believe it's repeated in different ways throughout the song. We're going to be on a D chord. So we're on the 10th fret. That's our home, so to speak. Starting on the top string. So that lick uses 4 strings. In order, strings 1, 2, 3, 4. 10, 10, 9, 10, 10. So every string gets 1 pluck. Okay, a little quicker now. So the second time he plays this lick, it's the same, but then he goes zipping down to the 3rd fret again to make that G chord stop, if you will. 2, 3, 4, go. The next lick is at the end of the first verse. It starts on a D chord, and then it's going to end on a C chord, which is the beginning of the next chorus. Okay, so we're on the 10th fret for the D chord. You're still on the D chord for the next lick. 9, 10, 10, 10. Now we go to the strings 5 and 4, and we go from 10 down to 8. Okay, and when you get to 8, you're on the C chord of the chorus. Okay, so let's try to put that together. 2, 3, 4, go. The next lick occurs during the second chorus, and this is where things get more exciting, is at the end of the second chorus. We're going to start on a G chord up high, that's the 15th fret, and we're on strings 4 and 5 at first. So we're going to start with... Okay, so that's just sliding from 15 to 13, but then quickly going to string 5 and back to string 4 on fret 15. Okay, the next lick is on strings 4 and 3, and it goes like this: 13, 15, and then 14, 15 on the third string. I'm trying not to say G string because it's really the G sharp string now. Okay, let's try to put those two things together. We've got... Then the next thing I hear is the slide guitar does play 2 strings at fret 10 during the C chord. On the A chord, you also hear him playing the same 2 strings. In the next measure, we're back to the D chord. So we're on fret 10, and we're going to play strings 4 and 2. And then you do the same concept on 15, but with the next 2 strings, the third string and the first string. At the end of that lick, he sneaks in the second string. The next lick was the hardest one for me to understand at first, but it's on a C chord, so our home is fret 8, and we're going to deviate probably the most of any licks we've had so far. So we're going to start on 11 of the string number 2, the B string. So start on that note and then drop down to the 6th fret and pluck your third string, then go back up to 8. And I believe he plucks the B string when he gets back up to fret 8, like this. Now we go back to 15, because that's the G chord. And we're on the middle 2 strings. The band goes to the D chord, but the slide guitar stays as if he's still on the G chord on this next measure. Now we go to the next page, and we're going to be still on fret 15. All right, now comes the exciting part. I guess you call it the solo because there's no vocals at this point. We're going to do a very quick 14, 13. Now, again, think of your home as 15 and it will make more sense. But we're deviating away from it. On the next page, we're still kind of doing G licks, but deviating from fret 15. So we're going to start on 13, and it's just kind of a little pull up to go out of tune. And stay on that fret 13 for most of that measure. At the end of that, we're going to go from 13 up to 15, like that. And then we're going to rock back and forth on the first 2 strings. and then strings 3 and 2 going up to fret 18, and then back to the 3rd string, 13, 15, 13, and ending with 15 on the string 4. Okay, let me try to put those two measures together. That was a good one. Let's do it again. On the last note, slide down. The end of the guitar solo is easier with just strings 5 and 4, trying to only hear one string at a time, like this. And then that just rings into the drums, and then the drums bring you to the a cappella again. The next lick occurs at the end of the a cappella. It's on a D chord. Remember, that's on our 10th fret. And we're going to deviate by starting at the 13th fret and then eventually going to the 10th fret. So we're on strings 3 and 2 like this. Okay, I'm pretty much playing one string at a time. And then the next lick, I start my 3rd string and then go to the 1st string like this. See, so that clearly ends me on fret 10, the D chord. Let's do that again. Ready, go. From there, we're on a C chord again. So we're going to play the bottom 3 strings at fret 8 and just hold it. Heartache Tonight. Now we're into another chorus. Let's go to the next page. We're at fret 15 again. The very next measure is a little tricky. We're on a G chord, but we're going to be up 3 frets from the G chord at the beginning of the G chord. And now we go to the 15, and now we go down to 8, because that's the C chord in the very next measure. Okay, so the tricky part is getting from 18 to 15, because there's a up from 13 up to 15, which looks like I forgot to write down. So at 18, okay, there was a little quick pluck at 13 there. Let me try to do that again. Now slide. Okay, so I'm going to put those two together. Let's play the licks on this line that you're looking at. On the next page, the next licks are something that you've already done. Fret 5, 10, and 15. The first measure here is a C chord on fret 8. And the next measure is only one note. That's when they're playing that C sharp diminished chord. But Joe's just playing one note on the slide at that exact moment. Then he slides back up to 15, and he's going to stick around 15 for the rest of this chorus. So here's measure 3. And measure 4. Okay, now we have everybody in the band plays the C chord. Okay, and now we're right back to 15. And stay on 15. That carries into that next. Okay, and now we're up to the ending of the song, which is kind of like a guitar solo also. We're going to start on the 3rd string, This is another one of those fast grace notes, and then you slide up. Awesome technique, Joe. Kind of like this. And then comes the next measure. Okay, let's do that one again. The next lick is very similar to something we've already played. We're going from 15 to 18, and then we end up on 15 on the strings number 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, go. And now for the last lick of the song, possibly the most exciting. We're going to separate this into two little pieces. The first piece is on the top 2 strings. We're going to play 15 to 18. Then we go 15 to 13. And then a pluck on the second string 15. And then another pluck on the first string that goes up to 18. Okay? So the notes are this. And that's it. Think of that as the first half. Again. So the second half of this is strings 2, 3, and 4. You're going to start on string 2 and go 12 to 15 up. Then string 3, that was 14 to 15. And then the final, the 4th string, is also 15. Okay, so this is one of those variations where you're below the destination, going up to it, but on multiple strings at a time. All right, so and again, the second half of this is like this. Okay, so that was up to 15, and then up to 15 again on the 3rd string, and then 15 on the 4th string. Okay, let's do it again. Okay, and that's done a second time exactly the same way. All right, so putting that together with the first half of the lick, it's going to be like this. Now. Okay, a little bit faster. Okay, the song is effectively over now, and the bottom 4 strings, 13, 8, and 3. Okay, one more time. That was 13, 18, 3. And then just let it fade out until the drum does its final shut the door. The end. All right, well, with any luck, this video will not get canceled, struck down, and I'll see you next time.